All right, call this meeting to order at 5:55 p.m. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. So we have read over the minutes for approval for October 8th, 2024. Do you have any concerns, Bill?
No.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the minutes for October 8th, 2024 as written.
I second that.
All in favor? Sorry. All right. Warrant number 27, expenses $145,981.54. Checks 15,725 through 15,747. Receipts of $119,319.66. Receipts 557 through 575. Percent of 2023 real estate taxes collected year to date is at 95%. Wow, we went up quite a bit there.
Good job.
I have a couple things myself for open session. Does anyone else have anything for open session?
Myself or Mary Ann, I don't care which one, but
Okay.
Mary Ann would like to just see if we or the fire department have any comments or etc. about the heat pumps, how they're working, pros, cons, etc. for her and
For your
reports.
Final report.
Heat pump seems to be working fine in the station. It's nice to have the AC in the morning. Weather, so.
Or did you get a chance to
We-
look at any bills? Did we?
Yep, I actually left it on your desk.
Oh, missed that.
That's okay. Well, I use it at your desk. But anyway, yes, it is costing us a little bit more, but we barely used the AC at all this summer, I don't think,
No.
so. It seems to be very efficient, at least for the cooling part of it.
Cool. So you have everything you need, Marianne, for your report?
Yeah, I think, she gave me, financial data in terms of the costs and comparing fuel oil and it was really, what, about $260
Yeah.
difference between the two, and even if they're not using the air conditioner, the fact that it dries and
Oh, yeah.
and your heating, I think is
Humidity
worth that
is a lot
$200.
less.
And especially, I didn't know how the fire department felt about it, but they're being able to maintain their equipment better with a more moderated temperature, certainly has its advantages.
All right. So Bill apparently was on the phone with the district attorney's office this morning. So that prompted an email from the advocate, Tammy Grenier. So we got this morning. She wanted to clarify what the Stewarts would be pleading to and how that's playing out, or we'll find out on what the November 5th, I believe,
November
is
5th
now
at
the date
8:30 in the morning.
at 8:30.
Election day.
Yeah. So 1 year deferred disposition, restitution, no contact with town officials, not to be on town property except to vote, $300 in administration fees. They have an option of either going on a deferred for a felony charge with a dismissal at the end if they are not found with any new criminal conduct, or going on a deferred for a misdemeanor charge. And if there is not any new criminal conduct, the results would be an unconditional discharge, which would be a conviction on their record. So if they plead guilty to the misdemeanor, it will remain on their record. If they plead guilty to a felony, it will be deferred and be dissolved within a year. In either case, Kelly Stewart will owe $4,992.17 in restitution, and Robert Stewart will owe $9,551.16 in restitution. So, there you have that. So it sounds like election day at 8:30. They will likely be going before the judge for sentencing. Bill would.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, I reached out to Tammy this morning first thing because we hadn't heard anything about the date, and she finally did dig up that it was going to be. Yeah, originally it was, as of this morning, Bob Stewart was at 8:30 in the morning, and then Kelly was going to be at 1:30 in the afternoon. And I said, that's the same thing that happened last time. She said, yes, that's not right. She got in touch with the clerks and got that changed, so they're both at 8:30 in the morning. Secondly, I asked her if the numerous people in the town have sent letters in to the district attorney's office, which we were told were going to be forwarded to the judge. According to the clerk of the courts, that packet has not been sent by the district attorney's office to the court. It's not part of what they have in that brief. So I asked her at this late date if we send in, there are other people that wanted to send letters, whether they should go to the district attorney's office where they're not being forwarded to the judge, or could we present them at the time of their disposition, that 8:30 that morning, along with that petition. And she said, absolutely you can. So that way, we'll know that the judge at least has a chance to see the petition and read the letters, and whether that will influence his decision or her decision, I don't know. But at least we can make sure that they are, that they're part of the record.
Well,
Yes,
we must,
Mary.
great minds must be moving in the same vein, because I spoke with Tammy again this morning as well. So I was looking back at my records, and when you all did letters to the court, or to the sheriff's department, to the DA, back in April, I sent one. And so I called Tammy to say, do you have it? Because in it, it had the information that was relevant from April through August. And she couldn't put her hands on it at the moment.
Yeah.
And then she said they had a lot of information, so I asked her to verify that they had my email, which had redacted investigator's report. And then she said, yeah, I've got that. Well, where's the unredacted report? And she couldn't say that it was there, and so I said, it's important that the judge have the unredacted report, because that's what reflects
Right.
criminal intent. And so I haven't heard back from her. So I sent an email to Joel today asking if this office made any effort to get Leah Rachen's office to send the unredacted report to the court. And do you know whether that was done or not?
We requested that, right?
So the whole unredacted report in that investigation, that's a huge gray area as far as the legality of who can actually see that. And I can't remember what it was called. Remember when we sat down with?
Yep.
So Lieutenant
Garrity agreement.
Garrity, that's what it is. Thank you. So Lieutenant Brown, who's the one that did his investigation that charged them, he could not even look at it because that would break Garrity. Because if it ever went to trial, the long and the short of it is, if there's information in there that they're under oath that he didn't know on his own investigation, he could ask them questions that they would have to answer truthfully, and that could, so they in turn could be incriminating themselves based on that. So that's Garrity. So I don't know if that report ever made it to the DA's office or not.
So that raises a question for me, that the court hasn't got all the information related to
That's my understanding.
that were posed, that took it to the DA's office to begin with.
Right.
So, to my understanding, there hasn't been a trial, is that correct?
No.
Right, and so
So all of this around Garrity doesn't hold water when we're asking for for the charges to be,
Based on the
On the
information
actual
that,
facts.
yeah,
well,
that we
plus
paid.
they're pleading
Right.
guilty.
But
But
they're
that may
pleading
not-
guilty to not necessarily what was in that report, but their attorneys had an opportunity to read that unredacted
Sure.
report.
But they could, the judge, so when we go to court, or they go to court on the 5th, that is sentencing, the judge could throw out their plea deal and they could end up at a trial. So Garrity still stands, in my estimation. If I was a gambling man, that's what I would say.
So,
Because the judge could hear everybody's information or whatever and say, or he might think the punishment's it's actually she, might think it's too harsh and let them off on misdemeanors, or they could think that the plea deal is too tough or whatever. So they make the plea deal, both parties agree, they go sit before the judge in sentencing, and the judge decides if he's gonna accept this plea deal or not. And if not, then it kicks it back to them. They either go back to the drawing board for plea deals, or it ends up at trial.
That makes sense.
So I would say
and
Gary.
we have nothing to say.
We have zero to say about
But
any
we
of
have
it.
the redacted part, which.
But it doesn't, but, I saw the original report, and that redacted, the last 7 pages don't say anything.
Yeah.
And so that information, which is what we as a select board and as a town, as a select board, made a decision to ask it to go to criminal, to be taken to the sheriff, and felony charges were brought against them. So I don't understand how justice can be served when they're getting around it.
I don't understand either, Mary Ann. I don't.
That would probably go in a whole nother direction that we don't have time for tonight, to be honest.
So what I'm hearing you say is that if we had letters, or if we wanted to appear, will there be time for people to speak
Yes.
their piece
Well,
on the thing?
I was told when I sat down with Mr. Beauchene, September, 1st of September or whatever, that 1 or 2 people might be able to speak, that one of us from the town is a representative of the town, or maybe 2 people at best. But he's like, you can pack the courtroom fine, but not everybody's gonna get a chance to speak. They have lots of things to do, and there's, technically we have 900 something, 1,000 victims that their taxes monies was stolen, so that'd be a lot of. So I was gonna go do the last one, and then the date got changed to sometime in November, and
Now we have the date.
now we have the date of the 5th. We'll probably find out on the 4th if that's gonna hold true or not.
You know how they came to the restitution figure?
That's based off of Justin Brown's report. That's the dollar figures.
Yeah, that $15,000
Yeah.
sum that he came up with.
So those
Based on the information he had.
right, and and speaking with him, that's just what is in what he charged them with. The amounts was what he could prove with beyond a reasonable doubt. So, if you want to read into that, or I'll say it out loud, there was more, but it could have been explained away.
So no consideration for the legal expenses that we incurred as a town,
That would have to be done civilly against them personally.
and how do we feel about that?
I don't think we're there yet, but some people think, I've heard comments of the last conversation about this, that people in here are out for a witch hunt, and other people, think they're innocent, other people want them to pay. So it'll be our job at that point, and to do the town's will in that regard. I don't know what that would look like.
So will the select board be there to speak on behalf of the people of, so because only 2 people can speak, can we project some of our interests that you should speak on to you, so those
Sure.
people can deliver? And one of them, and I've heard it mentioned in conversation, I think it's a good idea, is to make sure they pay that money within a timely manner before their sentence is up.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to get $5 a month for 10, 20 years or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So did anything happen with the petitions that individuals signed?
Those petitions are gonna be hand delivered to the judge the day of their
And if you know
trial.
anybody that wants to sign, there's one here, I have one at my house, and Kristen has one, and I think we have about 100 or more on signatures right now. But the more, the better.
Oh,
Well, I
Mary
plan
Ann?
to be there too, because I lived through it, you all lived through it, some
Yeah.
of you more closely than
Yeah.
others,
Yeah.
but I don't feel we're getting justice served at all.
Yeah, and because you were living through it, during your administration, you know, so, if you wish to speak, then, I guess I don't have a big problem with that. And when I talked to the clerk's office today, it seemed like there may be a little more leeway as far as just not having two people talk. But
Yeah, I
that,
don't know.
who knows?
Yeah.
The judge will be in
Be there.
charge of what
I
happens
think
with
if we
that.
have a good representation there, then that's, it has something to say.
Yeah, could you, get a copy of that letter that you wrote and also yours, Doug, so that
Yeah, yeah.
we can
I-
present
I
those
can
to the
forward
judge?
it To you, I think I sent you a copy, actually, maybe. I sent it on to Tammy today, and
Yeah.
I debated sending it to you.
Yeah, you can just put it up there.
It's just, I'll try to get everybody that I know that wrote letters to, have copies given to me and make sure that the judge has a chance to see them along with the petition.
That's the best we can do.
Can I just point out that anybody who would like to go down is welcome to fill out an absentee ballot, so you don't have to not vote that day.
No, I like voting in person, so it may
Yeah,
be at
me
8
too.
o'clock on
That's okay, I'm
Tuesday
just
night,
saying.
but we'll be here.
You also have that opportunity.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, you're talking about Justice Marion. Like I said, I don't wanna get, you know, on a political whatever, but criminals, the Justice Department favors criminals at this day and age. And Mr. Beauchene, the DA, he and I, my politics and his are completely different. We're polar opposites, just based on his comments while I was sitting in his office. And his estimation was the embarrassment of being arrested and charged was good enough. So that's where he's at with it, and he's the one that is
Representing us?
Yes.
technically, I mean, he's
Technically, yep.
representing the state, so we're not really, like, he works for us because he works for the state, so I guess if you wanna talk tax dollars, he technically works for us, but he's brought the charges because of the sheriff's office, and he's represented, that's why it says state versus, he represents the state, he technically doesn't actually represent us, so. I sat in his office for over an hour, and, you know, he thinks the embarrassment of, you know, being arrested and charged, and, in all honesty, he thought Lieutenant Brown, the way he arrested them was inappropriate, that it was too much of a public display.
Ain't that too bad?
So like I said, me and him didn't really have a lot to agree on, I just sat there and smiled, but, so, yeah, I guess if the 5th doesn't change, we'll stand up and say our piece, and that will be that, and
Well, if there is any change in date, I don't, you know, hope it, because it's public information, that would be helpful. I haven't asked her specifically to tell her that I'm planning to be there, but I will. And then if there's a change in that date, hopefully we'll get it.
I mean, I'm fully anticipating that, you know, the email's gonna come just after they walked out of the courtroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting for that one, cause that's what I
Or we
feel.
just show up anyway.
And I'm feeling like it's gonna be like, oh, well, the docket got moved up and they just pled guilty and this was it and we don't get, that's what I feel like could happen. I could be wrong, maybe that's just, but, I feel like that's what could happen. So, anyways, that's that. Walter?
Yes. Last year, we spent $7,450 on the town audit. Should they or could they have found out this alleged thievery? And if so, you know, they're bonded, I believe. Could we go and ask the
Tried it.
bonding company
Tried
to?
it.
Tried it. So so to answer your questions, audits hadn't been done. So that audit expense was after the fact of discovery of missing money because we hadn't had audits done in that time frame. So we were behind on audits. Audits hadn't been done until the end of last year.
I was reading this past year's book that we got, and it said that the last audit was done to 6/30/21.
That's
So that was the last
that's the
audit?
last one prior. Right. So at any rate, so audits weren't being done, and there's a whole list of reasons. If you can go back and read the minutes on those as to why. And then, the other part to your question was, I've already forgot.
Bond.
Are they bonded? Oh, so we attempted to make a claim against Kelly's bond, and I got this whole affidavit and this whole runaround from MMA, and it's basically I asked them if they had the redacted or unredacted version. They are in very close contact with the private investigator that did our investigation, and he was looking at the unredacted version at his desk at MMA and told me that it was just mismanagement and that they don't cover mismanagement, and that I would have to prove in an affidavit signed and notarized. I would have to have all of the documentation that proved that this was theft, etc. I was like, well, if you're looking at the unredacted report and you don't believe that's theft, then so that's where that went. We're bonded. People are bonded through MMA. MMA's risk management department. MMA is really not on our side either. Just so you know, they are an activist group that provide legal advisory board for towns that don't have lots of money. So that's what MMA is for us. Okay, get off that topic. All right, so Kristen is not here. Nobody has her report on.
Is that the end of open session?
That is the end of open session.
Oh, okay, I had a question, yeah.
Okay, let's make it quick.
Quick. Okay, I was on the road committee for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a bunch of queries to MMA, and every time I got an answer back from them was, well, we talked to DOT, and they said no. You know, and somehow, for some reason, the road committee got disbanded. We weren't anymore. And I got all these questions, so I went into the state law, Title 23, which is transportation.
Right.
And I went into the federal law, which was another Title 23.
What's
looked
your
that up,
question, Walter?
and every question that I had asked them was answered that we were the winners. They said, no, you can't do it. But from the laws that I read, we're getting tucked by DOT. I'll get back to it. I gotta take a short vacation, but I'll be back in a couple of months, and I'll have a big thing written up.
Yeah, well, save your paper, Walter. I mean, I honestly, I don't. If you think we're gonna get tax dollars back from anything, anything, let me help you out. Anything, it's not gonna happen. You want to know why? Listen, this is why. We have $1 billion shortfall as a state. You think you're going to get tax money back or anything added on to your roads or anything else? It's not going to happen. Again, here I am getting political, but there was $1 billion surplus 6 years ago. We're looking at $1 billion deficit for 25. So
Federal government, state of Maine is getting $5.3 billion
yeah.
in this bipartisan infrastructure law,
Mm-hmm.
and state will be getting $1.5 billion over 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
Sure.
I keep, you know, like
I believe we'll see it, Walter.
I get reams and reams and reams of stuff there.
Yeah, I know you do. You've given me that one 6 times now. It's a fire starter for me constantly. Honestly, we're not going to get. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could tell you something else, Walter, but it's just not going to happen. Federal level or the state level, they'll throw a couple crumbs on the floor and have everybody run around thinking they're going to get some big payday. It's not going to happen. Like I said, trail maintenance and ATVs got $31 million to fix trails and drive around the roads. So you can ask yourself or come up with your own ideas as to why. But that's that. Anyways, all right, moving on. Kristen's not here. Jeffrey Kuhn, planning board report.
Planning board approved 2 building notifications, and 2 building permits will be issued as soon as the owners show up to pick them up and put them. put them out. The CEO reported that the increased Robinson Library Neighborhood House septic install is completed.
With another addendum,
With another
that, yes, they had to, Jared had the tank with all the filters in. They came to inspect it and it wasn't at the right angle, so he had to dig it all up again and put it back in. The depth was wrong, so.
Based on the design, or?
Nobody knew where the pipe was, where the pipe came out of the increased Robinson house. So he had to dig around and find where the pipe was exactly. And because it wasn't at the angle everybody assumed it was, we ended up paying more for it, but
Redesign it.
yeah.
Huh. We have a working bathroom now?
I won't know till the spring because we have no water right now. They turn off all the water in October, so.
No building notifications were submitted for the new mobile homes at the mobile home park. And the CEO went around just to kind of take a look at things. He talked to some workers that he saw there and is going to follow up with the owner. You know, they're putting on Facebook that they're going to be ready for move-in in November, but no building notifications have been submitted yet. So the CEO also, while he was there, took a look at the road. He said it's really rough, but he believes that it's usable for emergency traffic. I don't know if the chief had a chance to take a look at it, but that was the CEO's 2 cents on it. New updates. Building notifications, once approved, will become building permits, and a sign will be issued to the owners to put on their property facing the road. That way neighbors know that everything's on the up and up, and that will hopefully reduce the amount of questions that folks have for people doing building updates, and will also let us know if buildings are being built without any notifications being submitted. And the next planning board meeting will be held November 19th instead of the 5th being the first Tuesday. However, that's voting day and it's too many hands in one cookie jar. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Doug?
Fire department is doing well. We're in the process of buying a couple sets of gear for the guys. Trucks need a few things for the stickers run out the end of the year. We're getting that work done. I started a new job Monday and different hours, so I don't know if I'll be able to make meetings or not. So, I mean, I'll do my best, and Brian's Tuesdays are usually tied up, so.
Yeah. No worries. Maybe I'll just check in with one of you guys and get any updates prior to our select board meetings.
Yep.
That's fine.
You could send us an email.
Yep.
Perfect. Mr. Corson, let's see that badge.
Yeah, no, it's on my counter. I used it today, though. People really paid attention when I got that up today. So if I do it again tomorrow, I think we're really gonna go
Do you have this place whipped into shape?
Yeah. Yeah, the roads are going good. I'm real happy with what I'm finding over on the Gaming Road. We've ripped it up quite a bit. We dug it down, and we're not finding no rock, so that's saving us a lot of time and money. We're gonna put the gravel on pretty deep anyways, because it's a swampy area. So that's going really good. We've only got 3 days in it, and yeah, I'm real happy with the progress. So I've had my grader out. Tool Hill is all done. Barrows Road, DeCosta Road is done. So next week you'll probably get up on the Berdine Road, and we'll pretty well have our dirt roads all graded up. Hopefully they'll stay good till it frees up. The other concern was somebody had called and they wanted 20 miles an hour on the Gaming Road, speed limit signs for 20. So I went out through this morning 20 miles an hour, and that is just, that's really slow. I understand why Labrador Pond is 20, because it's windy, twisty, and really narrow, but. So I put new speed limit signs up, 35 on the Gaming Road, 35 Bonnie Road, 35 on Sumner Hill. So we got new signs up. That's all we can do with them. People probably just look at them and still do 60, 65, but that's all I can do.
Right.
Yep, that's about all I got.
Perfect. ACO report. Mr. Brandon.
Yeah, sorry I missed the last meeting. I was out busy on calls out in West Paris.
That's all right.
They've been keeping me pretty busy. It's been relatively quiet here. I mean, comparatively, especially. It's been kind of nice. I'm in the middle of a bite report for Lower Sumner Hill. Just got a couple of dogs on quarantine down there. No threat to the public or anything. It's pretty minor. I did have a surrender of a German Shepherd up on Barrows Road. That went out to Harvest Hills. They took it in and they're looking for a nice home for it. And upcoming events, well, I saw that on the bottom and I almost forgot to mention it. October 15th, we started dog licensing for 2025. So spayed and neutered dogs are $6. Intact animals are 11, and you have to show proof of rabies vaccination. Oh, and I did, when I resolved a call today, I ran into Sean on the road, and I saw that banner.
You did just what I told you to do.
I fixed right, I sat up, oh yeah.
You did just what I told you to do.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I had a question for Brandon. That situation up on Damon Road where you said that you possibly would defer the second criminal complaint.
He had no interest in that,
He didn't.
and the night before our last court appearance on the October 17th, he had another dog out at large, so I'll be up there issuing another summons for that as well.
So he didn't want to build his fence up? Or?
No interest in
All
that. Yeah.
So after our last meeting, I don't know if you got to watch it or not. I got a call from Jen, basically wanting to know what we were going to do. She was worried that we were going to tie your hands up or something with court and somehow tell you to back off or what have you. So I just assured her that the signs that they have up on the road and all the back and forth and the cameras and all that stuff and the Facebook posts and all that jazz has absolutely nothing to do with us as a select board.
Yep.
And that we stand behind your decisions that you make. I believe that you made well-informed, educated, lawful decisions, and we stand behind you and what you are going to do. So just to let that know, that was the conversation I had with her later that week.
Thank you.
So, thank you for all that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, that's that. Forms, reports, correspondence. So, we, the select board, have signed the commitment papers for property taxes. So, the mill rate is set at $13. The select board members have gone over September 2024 financials with Miss Diane. And new business. We have, I'll make a motion here in a second, but Warren Leitzel had expressed interest in being the EMA director for our town, so he will be sworn in as such at his earliest convenience of coming in. So I would make the motion that we appoint Warren Leitzel as the EMA director.
I second that.
All in favor? So he will be our emergency director in the event that we should have one. So in light of Hurricane Helene and everything that happened that's going on in North Carolina, it definitely got my wheels turning as to what if something like that were to happen here, like what roads would get cut off, and what would be the best uses or best things that we could do to secure essentials like drinking water, getting roads back open, etc. So we'll probably sit down with Warren at some point here in the future and really think about if something like that were to happen here, what would we, where are our weaknesses? We're not going to know them all because that will probably only happen after the fact. But getting roads back open, etc. There's a lot of equipment in this town, but fuel would be a priority. I would say, strategic locations of solar and lithium batteries for well pumps that people could come get drinking water that we could pull from the well in strategic places within the town would be another good use of resources or place to get headed in that direction. So that was just a couple things I had thought of. Sean, what's the capacity of the tank up there at the town?
I think it's 500.
500. So it was just a thought, if something like that happened, would we as the town be able to, get enough fuel to get our roads open back up at least for emergency use or et cetera. So did you have something you wanted to add, Jeff?
Yes, I just got back from the area of Spruce Pines, which is an area kind of seemed like it was in the epicenter of the devastation. And what really struck me was that place. There's a place a little bit further south called Burnsville, Weaverville. These are all areas just to the north of Asheville, and it looked just like Sumner. The actual town of Spruce Pines, just spitballing, it looked like it was a population of maybe 2,000 or 3,000, but the land looked just like us. It had creeks that looked just like us, mountains that looked just like us. I talked to a guy, kind of reminded me of Bill, and he had a couple of blowdowns that were very menacingly hanging over his property, his driveway. And the things, there's food, water, warm blankets, clothes available now. And I got to see several aid stations where they had piles and piles of stuff, but it is an ongoing thing. It's not just a room full of water and then the problem is solved. So I didn't want to take up too much time, but I just wanted to say, kind of humbling to have been a part of it, and kind of shocking that, like I said, they are very significantly inland, and they were hit pretty hard. So thank you.
So we'll probably sit down with Warren, like I said, and go over work towards a strategy. Like I said, if that happened, I mean, we're one stone away from being, bankrupt as a town as far as, any money we would have to be able to do anything. Something like that happens, it's, at least since I've lived in this town, we've robbed the general fund to keep taxes low every year. So that continue to dwindle down, and if all of our roads get wiped out and we just have to go back to getting them, passable by 4-wheel drive or ATV, whatever money we have will be gone quick. So ability to get roads open, fresh water for those that can get to strategic locations in town, and probably some sort of fuel or ability to, chainsaws and keep those fueled if you couldn't get out of town to actually get your own fuel. Some people have, I usually have 5 gallons of gas, which most people, that's a lot of chainsaw gas. I can use that up pretty quick. 5 gallons of chainsaw gas doesn't go very far with me. But some people, 1 gallon is a lot. So, but if we're clearing out, tree after tree after tree on all these roads, it's gonna take hundreds of gallons of gas to get, and hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel to get things opened back up. So,
For those of us who lived in this town during the ice storm, I think the opportunity for you and Warren to meet is one thing, but we also have a community of 900 people who work together very strongly and collaboratively during the ice storm. So I think, and we address, that's one of the reasons that over time we saw more of the community outreach and the community support at a time of a crisis, rather than, the county, EMA, or the feds. So I think, I would hope that the opportunity would be also for the rest of the community to pitch in to that conversation and say, I have a generator, or to think about the town as areas. If Black Mountain got blocked off and you couldn't get in Fields Hill, where in that region, in that small section, what parts of town would require some particular help?
sure.
And and really think about how we as a whole community could address those needs. Somebody say, you know, if a storm's coming, what do we do?
Right.
If we don't see one coming, then maybe we don't need the preparations, but if we see something coming or we know one's coming down the pike, then we have a plan. And it involves everybody, it doesn't just involve the committee, the EMA person.
Yep.
Yeah, ice does seem to be more of a nuisance now than it was in past years, although that was exceptional back in 90, I think 91, when that ice storm came
Well, I was
through.
98.
98.
I was
okay.
delivering mail
Okay.
during that time,
Yeah.
still delivered mail, some days couldn't get through, but
Yeah, but,
it's, but I think we have a sense of community that would come to the fore.
yeah,
We have to think about how to organize that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess my thought was, just me, you know, brainstorming while I was running equipment and stuff, was that I believe we have a lot of capable people and a lot of equipment, and I think we have people that will, I know this select board would just be on. We'd be in action doing whatever we felt we needed. So I guess my thought process on it, and like I said, we can go whatever direction, was what would we have to do to assist able-bodied people? I believe community is absolutely here, and I believe there's hardworking people that would take to just start clearing trees and roads right off. So that's why my mind went to fuel and water. And I honestly probably believe there's probably enough food in the town to sustain us for a while. I really do.
We don't have our pantries.
If not only your personal to sustain yourself, so you're not pulling in resources from some other places, abundance that people would be able to help out. And if you're not one of those people that has a stock pantry, I would say get one. If you're not paying attention to the times, there's lots of reasons to have one. A lot of people call it like prepared or preppered mindset now. That was just living 100 years ago. So get to living like it was 100 years ago, in my opinion.
The other thing is to think about who our elders are.
right,
Those that
They
can,
are.
sure, absolutely.
We did at one point have a
We did.
real inventory of that
We
and
did.
who took care of whom, and so I think kind of, we're thinking that could happen, then we need to be thinking about who those are.
exactly.
Yep. So, no business, upcoming events, presidential election, November 5th, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. here at the town office. RSU 10 school board meeting, November 12th, 2024 at 6:30, being held at the Buckfield High School cafeteria. Dog licensing began October 15th. All 6 months and older to be licensed with proof of rabies, presented at the time of licensing. Unaltered dog fee is $11, spayed or neutered dog fee is $6. A mandatory late fee of $25 in addition to the standard fee will be charged after January 31st. Absentee ballots are available at the town office. Last day to request absentee ballot is 10/31/24. There are 3 openings on the Board of Appeals, and the planning board has 1 opening for an alternate. Did I forget anything or miss anything?
I guess I make a motion that we adjourn then.
Alright, I second it. All in favor? Meeting adjourned at 6:39 p.m.